All right, let's talk about something we've all heard of: love handles. It's a kind of playful term, right? But what's really going on there? And more importantly, what does the science actually say about dealing with them? We're going to dig into all of that. So, here's the game plan. First, we'll figure out what we're actually talking about. Then, we'll dive into the science of why fat ends up where it does. After that, it's all about action: exercise, diet, lifestyle, the whole deal. And we'll wrap it up by looking at the bigger picture. Simple, right? Let's get started. Okay, let's kick things off with the basics. What even are love handles? Let's get a really clear definition on the table. So you can see right here, this isn't about your jeans being too tight. Nope. Love handles are, plain and simple, excess fat that builds up around your waistline and hips. The key thing to get is that this is about what's happening inside your body, not just about how your clothes fit. Okay, so if it's excess fat, that begs the real question, right? Why is it there in the first place? What's the actual cause? And yeah, to answer that, we've got to look at the science. All right, section 2, the science of fat storage. Understanding the why behind all this is honestly the most important step before we can even think about the how. At its most basic level, it's all about energy balance. Think of it like this. If you put more fuel in your car than the tank can hold, it spills over. Well, your body is kind of similar. When you eat more calories than you burn, that extra energy has to go somewhere. Your body's solution? Store it as fat for later. But it's not just about calories in, calories out. It's way more complex than that. As you can see here, a whole bunch of things play a part. Sure, genetics has a say in where your body likes to store fat, but look at all this other stuff. Hormones like cortisol, that's the stress hormone, can literally tell your body to hang on to fat around your middle. But here's the good news. Things like your diet, how much you move, your sleep, and your stress levels, those are things you have a ton of control over. Okay, so we know the why. Now for the what do we do about it part. Let's jump into our exercise action plan and talk about the kinds of movement that really make a difference. But wait, before we get into any specific exercises, we need to talk about a huge, massive myth that just won't go away. You know the one I'm talking about, right? Just do a bunch of crunches and your belly fat will melt away. This idea has a name: spot reduction. And let me be super clear about this. Based on all the science, it doesn't work. It's just not a thing. You can't pick and choose where you lose fat. When your body starts burning fat for fuel, it pulls it from everywhere: your face, your arms, your legs, and yes, your midsection. So the real goal isn't to target one spot. It's to focus on losing fat overall. So what is the best strategy? It's a 1-2 punch. First, you've got your aerobic training. Think running, swimming, biking. This is your calorie-burning powerhouse. It's what helps create that overall fat loss. Then, you've got resistance training, lifting weights, body weight stuff. This is what builds muscle. Now, building muscle doesn't magically burn the fat on top of it, but once you do lose that fat, having strong muscles underneath is what gives you that toned, defined look. Okay, so how much cardio are we talking about? A really solid goal to shoot for is somewhere between 150 and 300 minutes a week. That's like 30 minutes, 5 days a week. Totally doable, and it's a great target to have in your head. All right, let's look at some great moves for building a strong core. First up, the side plank. This one is amazing for your obliques, the muscles on the side of your stomach. You just prop yourself up on your forearm, lift your hips, and hold. The big secret here? Squeeze everything. Keep your abs super tight. You want a straight line from your head to your feet. Don't let those hips drop. Next, we've got bicycle crunches. And listen, the biggest mistake people make here is trying to go fast. Don't. Slow it way down. The magic happens in that controlled twist, when you're really focusing on bringing your shoulder across your body towards your opposite knee. Feel that squeeze. That's where the work is. And then there's the classic Russian twist. This one's a killer for the obliques. You lean back, lift your feet up, which already fires up your abs, and then you just twist from side to side. And hey, once you get the hang of it, you can grab a dumbbell or even a water jug to make it even more challenging. Last one for our circuit, mountain climbers. I love this one because it's a 2-for-1 deal. You're holding that strong plank position, which is great for your core, but you're also driving your knees in, which gets your heart rate way up. So you're building strength and getting a cardio burst at the same time. It's super efficient. All right, so exercise is awesome. It's non-negotiable, but you really can't do it all in the gym. The foundation for any real change happens in the kitchen and in your daily habits. So let's talk about diet and lifestyle. So remember how we said storing fat comes from a calorie surplus?
Well, losing it is the exact opposite. You need a calorie deficit. And you don't need to do anything crazy. A modest deficit of about 500 calories a day is a really healthy sweet spot. That's what leads to that steady, sustainable 1 to 2 pounds of weight loss a week.
So, how do you actually do that without feeling hungry all the time? It's really about shifting what you eat. Focus on filling your plate with real whole foods, fruits, veggies, lean protein. These things fill you up. And at the same time, try to dial back on the ultra-processed stuff and added sugars. Oh, and two superstars that help a ton, fiber and water. They are your best friends for feeling full and keeping your system running smoothly. And this goes way beyond food. Your lifestyle plays a massive role. Take sleep, for instance. Getting at least 7 hours of good quality sleep is huge. When you're sleep deprived, the hormones that control your appetite get all out of whack. Same goes for stress. Remember that stress hormone cortisol? When you're chronically stressed, cortisol levels go up, and that can directly signal your body to store more fat right around your middle.
Okay, so we've hit the what's, the why, and the how. For our final section, let's zoom out a little and look at the bigger picture here.
Now, some people might wonder about medical options, like liposuction. And yes, that is a procedure that physically removes fat cells from one area. But, and this is a really big but, it's not a magic wand. It's not a whole body weight loss solution. If the underlying lifestyle habits don't change, that fat can, and very often will, come back, maybe even in other places. Which really brings us back to the main point of this whole thing. After looking at all the science, the message is crystal clear. The absolute best, safest, and most effective approach is to focus on overall health. It's about general fat loss through that powerful combo of a good diet and consistent physical activity. There are no shortcuts.
So I'll leave you with this final question to think about. As you think about your own goals, is the end game just about looking a certain way? Or is it about building a body that's stronger, healthier, and feels amazing to live in for years and years to come? Because reframing it that way, well, that can make all the difference. Thanks for joining me.